Hello YouTube and welcome back to a new video. Now what have we got today? We have this, the install of the Blueskysea B5M motorcycle dash cam. Let's get into the video, guys. So guys, just before we get into tearing the bike apart, I just wanted to go over my process of what I'm going to be doing and trying to explain just up front of what we're going to be doing. Now this is obviously on a 98-02 bike, on how I'm showing how to take stuff off. Obviously if you've got a different bike that you're fitting it to, it's going to be similar kind of placements, but it's obviously going to be different bolts and that, so obviously refer to your manual. I'm going to be taking the camera up this way and moving the bike round so I can get to it a little bit easier. I'm going to basically be doing it in 3 stages because we've obviously got the camera to mount at the front, so it's going to be fair enough, and this can look really daunting. It's not, it's actually very easy. I've not got 2 cameras, so while that camera's up there I'll be filming, and probably later I'll film what bolts that I'm pointing to say to take off, and I'll be telling you what size bolts and that kind of thing. So I will show you in depth on how to do it. Once that camera's done, I'll be refitting all of that. The cable will be coming underneath the tank, and then we've got the rear bars coming off, this whole side panel coming off, so we've got easy access to the rear so we can get the camera in. Plus also I like the wires tucked underneath here rather than all wires underneath there. So yeah, I just wanted to explain what we're doing, yeah, let's get into it. Cheers guys. So first of all, we're going to be taking off this here. Now there's some things that I take off that you don't necessarily need to take off, like the screen. That all comes off together, but I like to protect it as much as possible. So first of all, what we're going to be doing is I'll just basically point out what I'm going to take off. Some will be different sizes for you, some won't, but first of all I'm going to be taking off these 6 bolts for the screen. So let's get that done. So once that's undone, just put this somewhere nice and safe so it's not going to get scratched. Now next, what we're going to do, I'm going to undo the wing mirrors. So we've got 4 bolts inside here, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure they're 10 mil. I'm sure they're not 8 mil. I will just double check. Yeah, that's me 8. So my 10's over here. So literally I just use a small ratchet, and you've got 2 bolts either side. Now while you're taking these off, I would hold this because they're like, I think they're called captive nuts. Not a lot of thread on them. So literally as soon as you start undoing them. This one I've actually broke one of the lugs, so I've only got 1 nut on this side. So that comes straight off. I actually need a new wing mirror, but I just can't be bothered to buy one. It doesn't. You see, I've just broke the lug off just there, and then we do the other one. Now I think the manual actually says remove your side panels. I'm actually just going to undo these 3 on this side and the 3 on the opposite side. In an ideal world, yeah, take off the panels. I don't. I can line it up. I know what's going to be has to be lined up. I may have to loosen them when I put it back in, but for the moment I'm just going to undo those 3 and the other 3 on the other side. Now just at the top we've got 2 plastic covers, one on the left hand side, one on the right hand side, and they're going over the rubber hoses that come into the airbox. Literally just turn to the left and you can unscrew. Now this panel for me is a little bit harder to come off because I've actually got a switch in now. I've got an override on the fan, so as soon as it gets hot, I can just turn the fan on. Maybe I'll do a video on that. And literally what they do, they come back and they pop off. So just show you, got two little things that just go down and then it screws at the back. Nice and simple. So I thought what I'd do is just bring the camera down. These were the two where coming through on the wing mirror that we've taken off, the captive nuts. The next ones that we're going to do is we're going to do this one here and this one on this side as well. And I'm going to put the camera back up. These were, I'll just show you, the screws that just go in now and then it lifts off. Just of those 2 points there, they unclip and just leave that. So with these, I generally use an extension bar. Again, it's a small ratchet system, 10mm. You can get that in. They are long bolts. Now I'm just going to bring the camera down again because I just want to show from this angle that I didn't do, because there's actually a spacer just here. I want to show you how it's inserted. So as you see, just here, there is a spacer. So when you undo this bolt and pull it out, that spacer will drop down. Okay, so you've got to remember that. Yeah, I think it's just that spacer just there, the other side of this bit of plastic that's holding it onto this as well. Now, I need to lift this up to try and support it. As you can see now, it's gone loose, to undo here. Now, as this pulls off, this will be pulling off from the side fairings, but you've also got the two big hoses at the top that we took those covers off, that we basically, that comes off of, so you're taking it off of there. You've also got the ram out hoses that you need to unclip and take it off. And as I can't get the camera in to show you how to do that, when I take it off, I'll point to where I've actually taken it off. Also, I can never remember, one of the headlights are attached as well. So I'm trying to remember which lead you need to disconnect. I think it's that one. So I've just disconnected the headlight as well. So when I pull that off, I haven't got to disconnect that. So I'm just pulling the hoses off, the big hoses off the vents. Now I'm just looking down and I'm unclipping the ram air hoses. So that's them unclipped. Now, before you pull it out, I rest my knee just sort of underneath it, and this bit of fairing is still kind of resting in the moulding of the metal part that holds the wing mirrors on. So you have to unclip them. You see it's now dropping down. And the only other thing that I've got connected is the other camera, which I completely forgot about. So that's the spacers that I was talking about. So I'm just going to try and hold this and disconnect this. And that's it, that's out. So I will find those spacers, but what I wanted to show you, what we're disconnecting is the hoses from here and here, and there's two rubber hoses that go onto here, and this one is the headlight one that we've just removed. So we needed to get that out. So as you can see, because we want a nice placement like that camera just there, if you can see it. The other ones are a little bit bigger, so we need to be able to get to there, and that's why I've taken it out. Cheers, guys. So, literally, as you can see, camera is very small on this one, and that is part of the problem. I know with the Blueskysea, and this one is a little bit bigger, so it's getting it in, getting a nice clean install. I probably won't screw it in unless I take this out, but I'd still need to get it back in, and it's getting the cable through. And sometimes you can hook the cable through, or sometimes you have to drill a hole, so you do have to disassemble this. So I'm just going to work out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, and then come back to you and show you how I've done it. Okay, guys. So guys, let me show you what I've done. I've literally spun it upside down. Now, in here, here, and on the two sides, you'll have 4 bolts or 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what they actually do is they hold the bottom part of this vent scoop. They also hold these side pods. So once you've unscrewed them, what you can do is you can actually pull those pods out of the way and put them to the side. So I now have more access to the front. I did pull the other one off as well. And you've got a grill that sits in there that you can pull out as well. And I'll probably give that a clean while it's out. Now, because that's now out, what I can do is if I turn it round, having the camera out, if I just slide that through there for the moment, I've worked out that I can put the camera directly in the middle, and I can stick it there, and I can, if I wanted to, screw it. Now, because you've got slight movement on this now, from here, I should be able to, from the opposite side, feed this through and stick it in. Once I've done that, I'll come back and I'll show you the crack that I've hopefully got it through. I think on my other one, I actually drilled a hole here and just went straight through, but I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to try and get it through the same crack in which I had the other one. Okay guys, we'll get on with that. So just before I fit it all on, what I wanted to do, because it was a bit of a fight, there's a clip that goes just inside here. It's basically like a little pull clip, push it in, and then you can take it out. That basically gives you a lot more movement, and what I was able to do is able to put the cable through this part and then just slide it along. Now that's all got to be redone back up, and then obviously I can stick the camera down. So I'm going to do that and retighten everything up, refit everything, and then come back to it. Cheers guys. So I thought I'd just quickly show you the inside as well. So you can see I've mounted the camera at the front, and you can see where I've got that cable coming through, and I've just looped it up to the top. I'm just going to put the camera back so we can start putting bits back together. So this little grill goes in first. We'll do the left side pod first. Let's get rid of that bit. So that literally goes in like so, and fits in. Then this one, you literally just getting out of the way of the cables, and the indicator coming down as well. So that slots in. So I want to be able to get to this cable so I can just rest it up, so next time I take it off I can remember to take that off. Now, as I said, you've got one screw here. It actually goes through this part. There's like a little hook on this, and then it's screwing into here, and then this one just screws into the side pod. So we've got 4 of those to do. Normally you have to look through and make sure it's all lined up. And that's it, all done, all nice and tight, all nice and fitting. That just fits inside there, making sure still can get to that cable, indicator cables there. And that's how you actually get to your indicators. They're literally just on the side and take those out. We can turn that round. And there we have it. So we've got the camera in. Enough cable, all nice and fitted. That will all go back once it's all supported properly. That's it, let's get back on the bike. So guys, we're back down in the garage. We've got the front fairing ready to go back on. Now, just what I wanted to show you, what we're connecting and what we had taken off. So the air vents that I showed are going into here and to here. They're the big air vents that go into the filter. The ram air pipes are these two at the front, and they're connecting to those AirPods that we took out, so we know that they've got to go on as well. And that was also the headlamp connector. And just a little bit more in detail, the reason that the fairing's not coming off, you just need to lift those parts out a little bit and then it slides off. Now, I've not taken off my side fairings, and you can do if you want to for ease. That is entirely up to you. However, I don't. But I just want to explain where they're actually going. Now, when this slides back in, you've got a flat edge here. Those flat edges are going in here and tug. So it actually sits. So the only bit that you see is that little lip. If I can get to it. Can't get to it. Can I get to this one? Because the camera's on the other side. There you go. So you can see that lip there, just there. It basically recesses just inside there, and obviously comes on the outside of this. So it can be a little bit tricky, but I've done it before without taking the fairings off. You're more than welcome to take the fairings off and then put them back. That's really, really easy. That is literally 3 bolts, one there, one there, and one at the back, and then that just pops off. Okay, so let's get the front on. So I just generally do it gently, lift up from the back and from here, and support it with my knee as I'm going in. I generally, so there's so much going on where I'm trying to line up. So right now I'm just putting on just loosely, not fitting it all the way on the left and right hand pod. Making sure I don't forget the ram air, so otherwise the bike won't run. I should also be doing is using my glasses. Now you'll get to a point where it actually will just sit on, and it's just rotating everything round, making sure everything sits nice. So I've just clipped it in up the top, so that's now held. Now I can't clip that in, something's stopping that. That's that clipped. Now I'm just going to check the bottoms and make sure the fairing's on. Okay, so that's that side. Okay. Now this side is a little bit out, so just pushing that in. So now I'm just pushing the tubes on a little bit more. There we are, sat back on. It's literally just slowly knowing what you're trying to look for to actually put on. Now I'm not going to put the screws on for this side first. What I'm going to do is, it's normally, again, when I put these bolts in, I generally do it loosely first of all. I don't tighten right away up. But the first bolts that I'll be tightening or putting in will be the two up the top that we've done. That will just basically lift it up and support it. Now remember, we've got these bolts with the spacer, where that spacer sits at the back. So the bolt's going to come in, and that that spacer sits at the back. What I'm also doing is just jiggling this up and down. It makes the bolt easier to go in. So I'm just going to do this hand tight. That's fine. And we go over to the other side. That one's a little bit more awkward to get to. So, okay, so I've just got them done up loosely. I've not done them up super tight, they're just loose, so everything's held on. Before I do the wing mirrors, what I like to do is I like to line the line this. So there's still movement in this. I like to make sure that this is all nicely in line, so it's all nice and straight. Normally, when you've got everything off, you'd put this together again loose, put the side fairings on loose, and then bolt these three up and the other three up, so it's nice and straight there, because that's really your only line, and then you can manipulate this to then look straight. So I'm going to put these three in and the other three in, and I'm going to do them up tight, so then they're fixed. That's that part fixed to the side fairings. So once that's done, what I now do is loosely fit the wing mirrors. So we go with the right hand wing mirror first. Remember, I've broken a bolt on that. Now, something I forgot to show, you'll normally have, it's quite worn actually, these rubber spacers. Now, one rubber spacer goes on the outside, so that spacer is here, and there's actually one inside as well just before this fairing goes on, so it's not set on metal. So you can buy these if they're lost or whatever. So just making sure this is around the right way. I want to put that around that way. So I'm just undoing this because the rubber isn't sat quite right. Best way to actually do this is actually put the rubber just on first, so you know that it's sat within and it won't pinch on the protruding parts and basically rip the rubber. So that's seated nice, that's seated better. Just remember my headlight, I only loosely put it in, so that's going to be connected back up. What you might want to do just at this point, test your headlights are working. So that's all done. Now we can actually do these two bolts up because everything's in place now, and we can tighten up the wing mirrors. Now I don't torque these down, I do just literally do them hand tight, but the reality is you can literally just nip them. I say nip it, like just make sure you'll feel it. It's on a rubber, so you can just feel how getting tight. There we go. Don't need to over tighten it, it's just on. That's those. Let's do the wing mirrors. That's that done. So we can now get on the screen. Again with these, don't like put one in and do it up loosely. Don't super tighten it because you won't be able to move the rest of it and get the rest of them in. So the last we're left with is just these side panels. Now I'm going to put this side panel back on, this one. I'm going to leave the other side because that's where our camera feed is coming from. And I'm also going to show you the lead where the other camera was coming from and the route in which we're going to follow. So I'm just going to put this back, as I say, clips on at the front and then just one screw here. As I say, yours won't have this lead. It's literally just, so I've got an override on my fan. Okay, I'm just going to bring the camera in just so you can see the feed of where we're going to go through. And then I'm probably going to put the bike back so I can get the camera over the top, so I can show you what I'm doing with the tank and go from there. But as you see, it's actually not that hard to take this off. It does look quite daunting, but there's actually not a lot to it. It's just being delicate and careful. And that's, even with filming, that's probably taken me an hour and a half with filming. So yeah, you can do that within an hour. It's just being careful. Cheers guys. Right, so guys, we've left the cable at the front. Now we're going to take off the back. So the front camera is all installed apart from the wire coming from the tank or underneath the tank. We're going to take all of this off. Now I'm going to go through it quickly about taking all of this off, but I'm going to point at the bolts and obviously stop and look back on it. So first of all, key takes the rear seat off. Nice and simple. Now we've got a 10mm bolt just here for the rear bracket for the front seat. So we'll do that first. Remember your little pot. Next we've got the side handles. Now we've got 2 bolts here which are 6mm Allen bolts, and there's 2 bolts just inside here keeping the insides of them on, and they're 12mm bolts, so you need to undo them. They have a clamp on them as well. Now when you take this off, just hold the bar, because otherwise it'll fall out. Take the bolt off and it just slides out. So that's the bit that the clamp is going down on. Put that somewhere nice and safe. Front seat, because we've taken that clamp out, literally just slides out. So that's that done. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring you down to underneath. There's 2 bolts just underneath here, plastic screws. Now, although it's not holding this down, we've got 2 screws just here for the lock for the rear seat. And also, sorry, I forgot, you've got 2 screws at the front. They're generally Phillips screws. So I'm going to undo them first and then bring it down underneath. Let's go down. So guys, just underneath here, sorry, I've just got a small little torch. We've got 2 screws, one this side and one that side. Now, they're like little plastic screws that are like little poppers. So the inside of the screw screws out and the part of the plastic bit stays in. Once you've unscrewed that, they then just pop out. So literally that screw is just holding that in and flaring that bit out. Okay, take the other one out and go back up top. So back up the top, just need to take these two screws out. And that just lifts off. It's a clamp, and that bit here, that just because we want to take that out. Now, that's it. This is all now loose. And this is where a little bit of fun begins. I've kind of got my own little technique that I do. I reach over to this side and I'm pulling it out because it's wrapped round. So I pull it out, and you have to do it from the front and the back. And you're also trying to get it over this frame here. And also just trying to get it over there. Once that's out, there we go. Nice and easy. That's all taken off. Now, as you see, I've literally got the old one velcroed in that side. Got the rear camera on. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull all of that out first of all, and then we'll go over placement, how we're going to fit the camera on. Cheers. So guys, I've got the old stuff out. I've removed the old unit and the camera, and actually the hardest thing actually was trying to get this bloody rear camera off because of the 3M tape that I was using. Now, it actually reminded me how I'd done it. Now, you can see just in there, there's one bolt just here, and there's one bolt on the other side. Now, that's 2 bolts of basically the brake light and the rear tail light, and you can loosen them. You can actually get a 10mm socket in there. One of these, you can actually get it in there and turn them, undo them. You don't need to take it off, but what that does is that loosens it. Now, if I come around to this side, if I show you what we're actually loosening, we're loosening this gap just here so we can feed the cable through. So that is where the cable will be coming through, and then we'll be attaching the camera just onto there. So literally all I've done, got the camera. Remember, if I'm sticking it upside down, I want the orientation the opposite way. So I've got it still pointing this way, orientation up. Now, all I'm doing is literally pulling this back. Hopefully there's enough, because this is slightly bigger plug. Hopefully there's enough on this. And there's not. I'm going to have to take it out. Oh no, I can fit it through. There we go. So I've got it through. Bit of a fight because it wants to come up. All I'm going to do is just drag it to the back. Careful of the camera, and then I'm just going to stick this on. So I just had to pull the camera away for a second because it wasn't quite sticking on the plastic. Still unsure what it's like. So what I had to do is apply some heat because I've left the cameras in the garage. So I'm wondering whether I just wanted to heat that up. Now, once that's done, we can now bolt the brake light, tail light back on. So just trying to get that in. So that's all that back on. We've got the rear camera on, and we've got the rear cord coming through. So that's all nice. Now let's get the main unit out and let's have a look round. So guys, what I wanted to just show is I'm running this now off of the USB, which I won't be. I'll be putting it up to the battery and then off my little fuse box that I've got for ignition, or it might go direct down to here to the ignition. I've just literally run it to the front. So if you have got like, if you're putting it on the handlebars, the mounting or anything like that, I've literally just extended everything and clipped everything together. So when we turn it on, we will get the main screen on. I've not gone through this, it's literally just the first thing, but just if you had an idea of what it's like sat on the front of your bike. So we've got the front screen here. It will flicker due to the light. I think, let's press OK, no memory card. Let's go down. So that's the rear, that's the front, and the rear up in the top corner. Rear and the front. so you can flick through those. Also on the remote, I think what I was saying, the middle button, so that will do, looks like speed and that. Don't know whether there's anything else on that, so that's pretty cool. But I just wanted to show that sort of situated, but that's literally going to be, the unit's going to be back here because of the way in which the cables are, so I'm just going to literally just put it back here. So cool, I just wanted to show you that there. So guys, that kind of threw me off just by putting the unit at the front. Just having a rethink, I think it's going to be best if I take the tank off, get the front camera extension lead all the way through, not follow it from the back, but actually follow it from here so I know how much I'm going to need at the front. Plus also, while I'm running that cable, this is going to be mounted just down here, so I can just get to the buttons if I need to. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Probably run it that way so the cable goes downwards. So need to get the tank off. So we've got 2 bolts at the front, 2 bolts at the back, and we've got a vent. Now we've also got a tap just down here that we need to turn off, unscrew, and there's a hose going onto the fuel filter that's got like a little clip. I take off, pull the hose off. With those off, you can literally just take that off. I'm not going to show you how to do that, I'm just going to get on with it. I've got plenty of other videos that I've shown how you can take that off. So I'm just going to crack on. So this camera cable that I need to thread through and the controller at the front is replacing this old one, and I actually put it through underneath this hose. Now I should be able to do it without getting the airbox off, but if I have too much trouble, I'll just pull the airbox off because it's really not that much trouble. I'm actually just going to pull the airbox off because it's easier. So that's a little bit easier. So I can literally get to this cable that just literally just threads. All I've done is I've threaded it underneath here. I can just pull that through. Then what I've done, I've neatly cable tied it all onto these cables that I've got going down here, which are basically everything. That I've got 2 USBs going up to charge phones, camcorders, got the quick shifter, just got loads of cables. So I'll basically leave that like there so I can follow that one back through. This is the camera from the front, so I want to leave enough slack so I can undo it, get to it and undo it for if I ever need to take the front off. So I'm just working this nicely. So what you can do is feed it through from the top and then just bring it round so it's not in the way. So as you see, I'm just leaving enough slack up the top so I can get to that and undo that nicely. And we've got the controller. Now I'm just going to stop the video, I'm just going to clip this on, stick this down, work out the best place for this to go. Cheers. Right, so I've just got this stuck just on the side here. I'm going to have to do something with it because it's not quite sticking properly. I think it's because where it's cold, so I need to sort that out. Both the cables from here, I've got this back on because I wanted to see how much I've got of slack. The 2 cables are coming out on this side of the ram air pipe, and they're going to be attached to, and I'm going to basically be following this all the way back through here underneath the battery and coming out this side here. So I'm just going to crack on with that and just fast forward through it all. So guys, I've got the cables back to here, which is brilliant. I know it's taken a long time, but if you want a nice install, I can now basically cut these off, tighten these up, cut them off and put everything back together. I'm not going to show you how I'm putting it all back together. I'm literally just going to tidy it up. As I say, I've just run them down here, through here, cable tied them here, come around the side of the battery and then come up through the side. And I've got the front camera and I've got the switch. Let's put it all back together. Cheers. So guys, I've got the cable tank all back on nicely. Cables coming through for the front and rear, for the front camera and also for the switch, which this will all be tied down by the side. But what I need to do is get this on first. Now I've just changed the like the ends to battery terminals. I just took that bolt out so I could see the size. So I've changed the positive and minus, so they've got those, and then the other one goes to the ignition. Now this fuse box here I've actually put to the ignition already, and if you can see, it's a brown wire. Now please check your wiring loom, because there's a couple of brown wires under there. So, you know, if you want it to go to the ignition, that's the one that I run it off of. And as you see, when I turn the ignition on, that little fuse box goes on. And if I just unplug this, if I can, there you go. So this is running off the ignition. I'm going to basically take this plug off and put both wires going into there. Now what I've done with the power leads, connected them up, positive and negative, and I've used my fuse box. Now this little fuse box I literally bought from eBay. I think it was about 15 quid. I know it connects up through the ignition. I think that's where I took my power from. I can't remember how it connects up, but it's really, really simple. Literally just got your power, and then everything is just through there with separate fuses. So I've got power cables running to the front. I've got USB on the back. I've got USB on the side, so I can power different GoPros at different points. Now, what I've also done is, because it is quite complicated to try and explain and film, I've literally at the moment put that in loosely, because that will be, I'll get some hook and loop tape, whatever it's called, and just have that there. Now I want to be able to take it out, but I want to try and get rid of all the cables as possible. So what I've done is I've put a cable tie through with all the sockets, the cables coming, got the rear camera coming through, got that one coming through, and it loops at the moment, so that will be tied down. What I'm doing is I'm just bringing them through one by one. I'm going to connect them, then I'm going to cable tie it down at that point. That will give me enough flex to ever, if I want to, take this out. So I'm just going to put the camera up and you can see what I'm doing. So now I've got all of that in there nice and neat. That's all going to cable tie down here. And I'm now going to tidy everything up, basically bundle everything up and cable tie it onto the side, and then I can show you the final and finished part of that. Cheers guys. After a long day yesterday, it is all finished. Everything is in. The unit is just sitting here. I've not got any Velcro at the moment. We're cable tied in. Just going back over, I've got the auxiliary into my got the ignition, sorry it's very early, ignition into my fuse box. So as soon as I turn on, it drags power from there. It's on a positive and minus on the battery as well to hold memory, and for the G-Shock I've not set any of that up. I've not actually tested the system, but that is there. We can easily take that out. We can get to the card as well. We've got the rear camera on you're going to get that flickering light due to the light that I've got inside. But yeah, it looks all good pictures. Let me get you round to this other side where you can see that, I'm just going to turn it off, where you can see I've just got the cables coming through here. It's a showed cable tied up. I've got loads of other cables coming through, and everything is tied onto the side. Now basically it does fit with inside, or it should fit, hopefully fit, but it is awkward to get over that. Now what I just want to explain is this is the lip that we're trying to get over. So there's actually a lip just inside here where the fairing sits inside, so you have to basically drag it over the top. It's kind of like a reverse. So what I'm going to do is just going to get a torch. I've brought my flashlight today, so you can see when it goes under, you can see this trim, and I'll be showing how that fits just on there. Okay, so let's get the camera back up the top. Cheers guys. So we're going to put this back on, and this is the bit, so here is the bit that's basically going underneath that lip, so that's why we're pulling it wide apart. What I would do is I would literally just, you can just rest that there. I always put, this is a bit of a fight and talking through, I always put the left side on first and then stretch, so I'm stretching the panel over. Now obviously we've got those cables to get over, you've got it to sit nicely into the back, into the rear light, and I can see I've already done it incorrectly, so I'm just going to slide it down a bit. So you can generally get an idea of where you've got it, because obviously this screw will line up onto here. So you can see that it's got to go forward slightly. It may let me do it, but again, just slowly comes over the top. Oh, and I'm not the camera, sorry. Now that feels like it's in. Yep, everything's lining up. Now I'm just going to check the bottom, bring the camera down the bottom and just check that that's okay as well. So as you can see, this is what we're basically trying to overlay on the other side. So you're trying to get that over the top like that, sitting in the recess, so it's over the top, so it's all sitting nice. Now start doing up the bolts. Now what I would suggest is when you're doing up the bolts, don't do them up tight, just do them up loosely, place everything in, and then you can tighten everything up once that's all done. And as you can see, there's plenty of room just inside there. Let me get my torch, let me get the light. Let's see, there's plenty of room inside there. That's not hitting onto anything, so it's not going to rub. Here we go, all inside. It's amazing how much room you've got in there. Cheers guys. So I've literally just got my box of bolts here, I've got my tools ready, and I'm just going to be putting everything back in. To say, do it loosely, sort of like jiggle it around, so make sure everything's in, and then tighten everything up. Let's get on with that. That's it, we're done. Empty pot. So we've got all of those back. What I'm going to do is just going to put in a memory card now. Have a play around with it. I'm not going to show that here, but have a play around with it. It's all working absolutely fine. I'll probably get it out onto the road and just adjust all the lenses and everything, make sure that they're pointing in. Got me the best orientation up and down level. So that's it, all done. So guys, that's it. Install finished on the B5M dash cam camera recorder kit, and I had a little quick look back of the footage that I'd taken. There's a few bits and pieces that I'd missed, and I think the way in which it's going to be edited it may look a little bit rushed. So I apologise for that, but it gives you a great overview on how to put a camera kit into a 98-02 bike, and give you an idea of, if you're putting it in another bike, some options to go for to get a nice clean install. Now, I'm unsure when I'm going to be able to bring out part 3 of this trilogy of the B5M, basically the review of it and some footage back, because the weather's not been great and it doesn't look great over the next coming weeks. So I will get it out as quickly as I can. Obviously want to go out with my GoPro as well, so we can get a comparison, a side by side of what the footage looks like at the same time, same road. I don't expect it to be as good as the GoPro, but it would be nice just to see a comparison, to see 120 quid for a cam system, what is it like, you know, so at least we can get a comparison on that. Remember what I always say, I am not a professional nut fiddler. I'm a total amateur. If you want to copy what I'm doing, that's absolutely fine, but you do so at your own risk, because these bikes are your own responsibility. If you're not sure what you're doing, please take it to a professional, pay them some money, and they will play with your nuts for you. Most importantly, make sure you are checking your nuts. Stay safe, ride safe, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. All the best. Cheers.